My dear friends and respected professors, I am Professor B. Gopalavasan, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Sri Ishwar College of Engineering, Kinathakadavu, Coimbatore. Wish you all a very happy learning. Now let us come to the Maxwell's equations. We are here to derive the Maxwell's equations, which is postulated by James Clerk Maxwell. He has derived 4 different Maxwell's equations. They are termed as Maxwell's equation 1, Maxwell's equation 2, Maxwell's equation 3 and Maxwell's equation 4, and they are derived from Ampere's law, Ampere's circuital law, Faraday's law, Gauss law, both electric and magnetic Gauss laws. Maxwell's equation 1 is derived from Ampere's circuital law, Maxwell's equation 2 from Faraday's law, Maxwell's equation 3 from electric Gauss law, Maxwell's equation 4 from magnetic Gauss law. These Maxwell's equations are also called electromagnetic equations or simply EM equations. And these equations are derived for 3 different criteria or geometries, namely first one is normal conductor, second is free space, third one is a good conductor. And these Maxwell's equations will be having 2 different forms. One is the integral form, another one is the differential or point form. Now let us come to the first one, Maxwell's equation 1. As we know already, Maxwell's equation 1 will be derived from Ampere's circuital law. According to Ampere's circuital law, line integral HDL is equal to current is the mathematical definition of Ampere's circuital law. Now this particular current I can be written in terms of current density as I is equal to surface integration of J ds, where J is the current density, I is the current, ds is the surface. And now this particular current density is going to have 2 components in it. One is Jc, another one is Jd. Jc is the conduction current density and Jd is the displacement current density. We have to derive separately the expressions of Jc and Jd, and by accumulating these 2 values I can get the total current density. Now let us come to the derivation of conduction current density first. So conduction current density expression can be derived from the conduction current value. Conduction current, how it can be defined as, conduction current is the amount of current that is going to flow through a resistor when a DC potential is applied. So according to Ohm's law, we know that IC is the notation used for conduction current. IC is equal to V by R, we can name it. And here V is the potential applied, R is the resistance of the conductor. We know already from the basics of resistor that R can be written as rho L by A, where L is the length of the conductor, A is the area of cross section, rho is the specific resistance or resistivity. If I want to write resistivity as conductivity, in terms of conductivity, if I want to write in terms of conductivity, sigma is the notation for conductivity and rho is the resistivity. Sigma is nothing but the reciprocal of resistivity, so sigma can be written as 1 by rho. And if I apply this particular value in the resistance expression, R will be written as rho L by A is equal to L by sigma A, because sigma is equal to 1 by rho. You name this as equation number 3. Now try to substitute equation number 3, which is R is equal to L by sigma A, in equation number 2, which is my basic Ohm's law. If I do that, I will be getting IC is equal to V divided by L by sigma A. So if I do some mathematical manipulation here, I will get V sigma A by L over here. Also we know that electric field intensity E is nothing but the ratio of electric potential to length, so V by L. So here V by L can be written as E. So I will be writing IC, conduction current, as E sigma A. So if I take this area to the left hand side, it becomes IC by A. IC by A is nothing but the expression for conduction current density Jc, because current density is the ratio of current to the area. Current per unit area is current density, so Jc can be written as sigma E. So sigma is a constant here, which is called the conductivity, and I can write Jc is proportional to E, which is called as the point form of Ohm's law. Now hence conduction current density Jc is equal to sigma E, that I am taking it as equation number 4. Next we will focus on how to derive the expression of displacement current density. displacement current density as like conduction current density, we are going to derive it from displacement current expression. Displacement current notation user is ID. ID can be defined as the rate of change of charge. So it is dq by dt. Take this as equation number 5. We know from the basics again that the relation connecting charge and capacitance is Q is equal to CV. If I use this particular expression in the fifth equation, it becomes ID is equal to d by dt of CV. Here C is a constant that can be taken out, so it becomes C into dV by dt. Name this as equation number 7. Now from the basics of capacitor, parallel plate capacitor, we know the capacitance value is given by epsilon A by D, where D is the distance of separation of the parallel plates, A is the area, epsilon is the permittivity. Now if I use this particular C value in equation number 7, I will be writing ID as epsilon A by D dV by dt. And again we know the relation connecting potential and electric field intensity. It can be related as V is equal to E into D. So now this particular V can be written as E into D, where D is getting cancelled. Remaining expression is epsilon A into dou E by dou T. Now at this particular juncture, displacement current I am getting it as epsilon A into dou E by dou T. Take this as equation number 9. Again there is one more relationship in electric fields, which is going to relate electric flux density with electric field intensity in terms of permittivity. So D is equal to epsilon E is the relationship. From this I can write E as D by epsilon. I am going to write or replace E available in equation number 9 in terms of D by making use of this particular expression. So I will be getting ID as epsilon A into dou by dou T of D by epsilon. Again epsilon is a constant here. I can take that epsilon outside. So it becomes epsilon A by epsilon dou D by dou T. Two epsilons are getting cancelled. Remaining is A into dou D by dou T. So as usual, if I take this area to the left hand side, it becomes current density. So ID by A, which is nothing but my JD. JD is the notation used for displacement current density. It is equal to dou D by dou T. So this I am taking it as equation number 10. Now if I substitute equation number 10 and equation number 4 in equation number 1, I will be getting the integral form of Maxwell's equation 1, which is our task. So line integration of HDL is equal to surface integration of JC plus JD is the equation number 1. So in the place of JC from equation number 1, I am putting it as sigma E, and by the use of equation number 10 at the place of JD, I am going to write as dou D by dou T. Now the equation becomes surface integration of sigma E plus dou D by dou T ds. Now D can be written as epsilon E, we know this already. If I want to write a modified form of integral form of Maxwell's equation 1, that is also possible. I can write the same equation as surface integration of sigma E plus epsilon into dou E by dou T ds. So this particular equation number 11 is the required integral form of Maxwell's equation 1. If I want to get the point or differential form, that can be derived easily by making use of this integration form of a particular Maxwell's equation by making use of two theorems, either Stokes theorem or divergence theorem, which we have prepared in unit number 1. So using Stokes theorem is a theorem which is going to relate line integration with surface integration. So according to Stokes theorem, I can write line integration HDL is equal to surface integration of curl H ds. What is curl is cross product, so del cross H ds. So if I make use of this particular theorem in equation number 11, equation 11 will become this one. Surface integration of curl H ds is equal to surface integration of sigma E plus epsilon dou E by dou T ds. Now left hand side surface integration, right hand side surface integration can be cancelled. Remaining is del cross H is equal to sigma E plus dou E by dou T, which is also equal to sigma E plus epsilon dou E by dou T. You take this as equation number 12. This particular equation is the required differential or point form of Maxwell's equation 1, which is derived from Ampere's circuital law. Now comes my Maxwell's equation 2. As we know already, Maxwell's equation 2 will be derived from Faraday's law. Faraday's law states that rate of change of flux will be inducing a EMF. That is the Faraday's law. This minus sign is due to the effect of Lenz's law. So mathematical Faraday's law is V is equal to minus d phi by dt. As it is a magnetic law, this particular magnetic flux will be written as surface integration of B ds, where B is the magnetic flux density. So V will become minus d by dt of surface integration of B ds. If I take this differentiation inside the integration, it becomes dou. So V can be written as minus surface integration of dou b by dou t ds. Take this as equation number 13. We know already from the basics that V and E can be related in this way. So V is equal to line integration of E dl. If I make use of this particular relationship in the above equation, V can be rewritten as surface line integration of E dl is equal to minus surface integration of dou B by dou T ds. So this equation number 14 is the required integral form of Maxwell's equation 2. Again here right hand side is surface integration, left hand side is line integration. I am making use of Stokes theorem again to write line integration in terms of surface integration. So line integration E dl can be written as surface integration of curl E ds. So del cross E ds. So if I put this particular value of line integration E dl in the equation number 14, that equation will becomes this. So now I can cancel out the surface integrations available in LHS and RHS. Remaining is del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T, or in turn we know that B is equal to mu H. So this equation can be written as minus mu dou H by dou T, where B is the magnetic flux density, H is the magnetic field intensity, and mu is the permeability. So this particular equation which is resulting now is the required differential or point form of Maxwell's equation 2, which is derived from Faraday's law. Next is my Maxwell's equation 3. Maxwell's equation 3, it has to be derived from electric Gauss law. Electric Gauss law mathematical statement is electric flux psi is equal to total charge Q. Take that as equation number 16, and from the basics I can represent psi electric flux as the surface integration of d ds, where d is the electric flux density, and I can write charge q in terms of volume charge density rho v as q is equal to volume charge density dv. Volume integration will be available. So I am going to substitute these two values. I am going to equate these two values as far as equation number 16 is concerned. So if I put these two values in equation number 16, I will be getting surface integration of d ds is equal to volume integration of rho v dv. This is the required integral form of Maxwell's equation 3. Now I am going to use now the divergence theorem, where I can relate surface integration with volume integration to derive the point form of Maxwell's equation 3. Now these two can be related. That is, according to divergence theorem, surface integration of d ds is written as volume integration of divergence d dv. Divergence d means del dot d, which is my dot product. So now the 17th equation can be written as volume integration of del dot d dv is equal to volume integration of rho v dv. Both side volume integrations can be cancelled. Remaining is del dot d is equal to rho v, which is my equation number 18, and this is the required differential or point form of Maxwell's equation 3, which is derived from electric Gauss law. And finally the last equation, Maxwell's equation 4, which is derived from magnetic Gauss law. According to this particular law, we know that magnetic flux phi will be equal to 0, which is my equation number 19. We know that magnetic flux can be written as surface integration of B ds, where B is the magnetic flux density. And if I substitute this particular value in equation number 19, the equation will become surface integration of B ds equal to 0. Take that as equation number 20, and that is the required integral form of Maxwell's equation 4. And now I use the divergence theorem again to write surface integration into volume integration. According to divergence theorem, we know that surface integration of B ds is equal to volume integration of divergence B dv or del dot B dv. So equation number 20 can be rewritten as volume integration of del dot B dv equal to 0. Hence I can write del dot B equal to 0, which is my required differential or point form of Maxwell's equation 4, which is derived from magnetic Gauss law. Next, these equations are for the normal conductor, first criteria or first geometry. Now comes the next geometry, I am going to give here a hint what modifications we have to do to get the Maxwell's equations 1, 2, 3, 4 for these two geometries. If I take the geometry or criteria as free space, just in the above equation, just you replace sigma, conductivity sigma as 0 and the volume charge density rho v as 0, as there is no conductivity in free space. If you do these modifications and rewrite the same integral form and differential form equations, we will be getting the Maxwell's equation for free space. Similarly, for a good conductor, just you ignore displacement current density JD, because very heavy conductivity will be there. Our conductivity is much higher when compared with JD, so only JC value has to be considered. Along with that, take volume charge density as 0. If you do these modifications, you will get the Maxwell's equations both in integral form and differential form for a good conductor. Now let us come to the last portion of our discussion for Maxwell's equation, summary of Maxwell's equation. So now we have derived Maxwell's equation 1, 2, 3, 4 for the first criteria, normal conductor, and those equations are listed here both in integral form and in differential form. And in the last slide we have seen what modifications we have to do it for getting the Maxwell's equations for free space and for good conductor. As I said already, for free space we have to take conductivity sigma as 0 and volume charge density rho v as 0 for getting the equations, integral form and differential form equations. For a good conductor, again it is assumed that we have to take JC to be much higher than JD, and rho v should be taken as 0. So if I do these modifications from the normal conductor equations, I'll be getting the equations of free space and good conductor. So this is the final summary of Maxwell's equation. I think you have enjoyed the journey. Thank you.